the NFL stands for not for long.
Set, Sharga and Armstead. Roll out, Walker still running out. Looks to the left, wide open, Thompson touchdown. Colin Thompson with the touchdown. There was nobody within 20 yards of him.
What a catch off the bobble. Colin Thompson scoops it up.
Lofting corner the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. The first NFL touch for Colin Thompson is a score.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Colin Thompson Show. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I appreciate everyone's support, following. If this is your first time listening to the show, you can find us at notforlongmedia.com. We have 6, 7, 8 shows, a little bit for everybody. So check us out, notforlongmedia.com. Check us out all across all social media platforms. All of our shows are available on all audio platforms and visually on YouTube. So I appreciate everybody's support. Really excited for the show today. I think you guys are going to like Leon Johnson. He's one of a kind. He's one of the most unique teammates and great people I've ever played with in my career from youth football through college, high school, college, and then professionally. Leon is an unbelievable person, a testament of hard work and dedication and commitment to himself as a human, and then also his teammates, and then as a player, someone who's played pro football in the USFL like he is currently, someone who's played in the CFL, the AAF, and the NFL. So a great interview ahead for you guys, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So before we get into it, I want to talk about our friends over at the original Fudge Kitchen, shipping fudge and sweet treats across the country. Check them out, guys. For those heading down the shore this summer, pop in, tell them we send them, and get some fudge for you, your family, some friends. They have great saltwater taffies, which is nothing better than down the shore chewing on the saltwater taffy. And if you can't make the shore, just pop online, fudgekitchens.com. They ship it right out the back of the Cape May location, 50 years in that location. It goes right out the back door, right in USPS. USPS comes in and gets it. That's how many shipping orders they get. They don't have to take it to the post office. USPS comes and gets it from them. Boom. Shipped right through to you. 2-3 days, it's at your door. So it is super fresh. I think it lasts 2 weeks since after they make it. That's how it keeps its freshness. The best in the business. Check them out. Yeah, so an awesome weekend, and we're going to have a show later this week like we have been, where it's just a bunch of people on, just chopping it up, having a good time. But just on my personal life stuff, an awesome weekend at the Dream Big Rally in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. First-class event put on the Mike Pettin Foundation by Mike Carey, 2 Central Bucks West football and Pennsylvania State football, the country for that matter, high school football coaching legends, mentors, and people. And Mike put this amazing event on, Mike Carey, with unbelievable speakers. Over 200 people made it. And I think if you're an athlete or you're someone who wants to have success or is in a bad time or whatever it may be in the Bucks County area, Pennsylvania area, if you're hours away, you should drive to this event next year. I think Mike's going to have it the same time, the same place. Fantastic. Ray Didinger, Howie Roseman. You have Marines, you have police officers, you have women's college basketball players. You have something for everybody in business, in sports, in law enforcement. So big thanks to the Dream Big Rally. Check them out on all social media platforms. Stay tuned for next year. But if you're in the Bucks County area and you're not at this, you're wrong if you're a student and you're wrong if you're a parent. It is fantastic. It was fantastic. So thank you to Mike. Thank you to the Mike Pettin Foundation. Shout out to the New Britain Inn. Had an awesome time thereafter, eating, having a couple pops. It was really a cool time to get around everyone from my hometown and get back there and sharing some memories and share and just trying to help and give back, because it's a wonderful place that did a lot for me. And there's a lot of us that love to get back to it because it's a special place in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. So thank you to Dream Big Rally. Guys, you're going to a game this year. Punch in the promo code Colin Thompson. It's SeatGeek. Check them out. $20 your order, off your order, $50 or more. SeatGeek, promo code Colin Thompson. Get Som Sleep, promo code Colin. Best sleep product in the market. And then shout out to our friends, Actions Over Words. Love what they have going. A philanthropic website, actionsoverwordsapparel.com. Check them out. Okay, so without further ado, the great, legendary, Temple Tough, unique, fun, exciting, a little bit for everybody on here, Leon Johnson. All right, Leon Johnson's in the building. Leon, how you doing, buddy?
I'm well, man. I can't complain. How are you?
This is great having you on. It's been too long.
It's been a
The
while.
last time we saw each other was probably 2016 or 17.
16, that bowl game, I think. Yeah.
That's crazy. And everybody says in the locker room, every coach says it, every player says, last time we see each other, bro. No, I'll see you I'll see you in the spring. I'll see it. But you know what? Life grabs a hold of you. You rip and tear. You kind of mold your own way. For you and I, bouncing around all these different leagues, trying to make it. What's the journey been like, man? I know it's been a grind.
It's been long. It's been fun, though. From Denver in 2018 to Salt Lake City with the AAF in 2019. Then up to the CFL with Calgary from 2019 through 2021. And now here with the Philadelphia Stars of the USFL. So it's been a long road, man, but you know how it goes. The grind never really ends anyway. So
no, it never really ends. You know, the whole adage, like, how do you say, how do you prepare? You never stop preparing. And it's really tough, I think, too. I think a lot of people don't understand, for the bottom of the NFL or the top of these other leagues or whatever it may be, you always have to be ready for a workout. You always have to be ready for something. That's what I found the hardest for me. Training was, okay, when is like my down week here? Because I'm training hard as I possibly can because I could be called next week. And then I rolled to Chicago for a workout and I had a weekend of whatever I was doing. I was traveling, calling games at Temple. Like, it wasn't ideal for a workout. You have to kind of like live your life. What's been the biggest struggle for you throughout this whole grind, this whole process?
Well, one of the things in college what we had to embrace was the sacrifice, right? We missed Thanksgiving. We may miss Christmas. It's kind of been that same thing, just sacrificing. When you're in the CFL here, you got the dreams of the NFL. You're in the USFL. You're in the AAF. Like, all these leagues run at different times. So you really never get an off season. So you're always in, I got to stay prepared mode. So, I mean, it's something that's just become routine now, right? I mean, look, whether we do football or we do corporate, we do construction, we do whatever it is, there's an aspect of that always being ready, always being prepared. That's essential anyway. So why not get it this way?
I'm sorry. I think it's unique too. And I talk about it with the coach Jeremy Scott, as I know you know well, and he was with us in Carolina. There's a lot of us there in Carolina. And I'm not there right now, but there's something about Temple for those 4 years. I transferred in. I was there 3 from 14 to 16. There's guys are still playing. I mean,
yeah, and high level too.
High level. Like, so obviously you have the NFL guys that people listening to the show may or may not know about, but guys getting second contracts, Medikevich, big money, Hassan Reddick. There's all levels of it. Of NFL. And then there's all levels of minor league football, like the real grind. I've been a part of it. I played in 2 different leagues. I may go back to it, but it's just amazing to me. And I want to hear your thoughts of why. Why do you think? Because there's guys like Avery Ellis, who's older than us,
right,
who's still playing in the CFL. I mean, like, there's passion for football. There's commitment, like you said, and sacrifice out of that group that gallivanted a lot of people. Anthony Russo's playing in arena. Like, guys tuck their egos away and just go to work, put their head down, and figure out where they're going to play in their career after. I mean, what do you think it is in the water there, 10 to 9?
That's it, though, right? Rule taught us how to prepare. So, whether it be arena, whether it be semi-pro, whether it be minor league, pro, I mean, we know how to prepare. We know how to be professionals. And you got guys who aren't in football who are doing big things outside of football, too. It's just, he set up that he helped us to understand how to set up a routine and how to be men, man. That's really what it comes down to.
Did you have any rub? And I know the answer to this. I know you had some rub with people at Temple because there was days I'm like, oh, Leon's ready to go today. Like,
oh, of course. Yeah. I mean, look, I was very young and immature, right? Thought I knew more than I did, but I wanted to be a part of it all. I wanted to do it the right way. I a little stubborn as they may say.
No, you were a great player there.
But no, man, I don't have any negative relationships with anyone. I mean, like Weeze, I gave Weeze hell, right? But I mean, that guy changed my life, so.
How good is Weeze as a coach? Because he's now the O-line coach at Temple. He went to Georgia Tech for a little bit with Coach Collins. The guy's coached in the NFL. A lot of guys, Dion, yourself, Boozer, Hennessy, Bocosi, a lot of NFL talent, professional football league talent, whatever league that may be, and all love Weeze. I do too.
Yeah. I mean, Weeze was a Hall of Fame wide receiver at Wabash, right? he coached us O-line. What was that, 2014 or 2015? I think we had the least sacks in Temple football history.
Really?
And then he turns around, he coaches the running backs, and Raquel and Jihad both had 1,000 yards and both had over 10 touchdowns. So, he knows the game in and out. He knows every position. He can coach any position on the field. I think he's a head coach, honestly.
Yeah, Weeze is great. I remember being a tight end individual with Foley, and the ADD in me in 2016 would look over and see the running back drills.
Yeah.
I'd be like, these running backs have their helmets off doing pass protection.
Mm-hmm.
And it made sense to me. I'm like, I know exactly what he's doing. He's trying to
Get your head out of it.
Get your head out of it. And you were like, oh, I mean, he's just constantly throwing medicine balls, doing different things, like creating ways. He's a grinder. And you're right. I think he is a head coach.
And he's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll definitely be a head coach in college football, and I know he loves Philly, and he's jacked to be back there. So, where are you at now?
Right now, we're in Ann Arbor, Michigan. So the USFL has our league split into 4 hubs. There are 8 teams, 4 North teams, 4 South teams. So we got Canton, Ohio, and Detroit, Michigan is the 2 North hubs. Memphis, Tennessee, and Birmingham, Alabama are the 2 South hubs. So that's what we're doing.
Yeah, how do you like it? Because I guess I'll ask you this: what's the difference between the leagues? For me, I thought the AAF we made more money, but the backbone of the league was not as great. The coaches were solid. Let me say this: the AAF we made money, made good money.
Yeah,
we made practice squad NFL money.
Yeah,
you were there, which was great. I mean, that was great money for what we did in the time. And then I thought the coaches were good. I thought the facilities were bad. I thought like the infrastructure was bad, like living and eating wasn't great. And then the XFL, were you in the XFL, Lee? I don't think you were.
I had a brief cup of coffee in the XFL, with Houston.
Okay. So XFL, I thought the facilities were better. The food was better. The coaches were better, but the money was less.
Right. Yeah,
we were on all the leagues.
I was in, so I would say here, pretty similar to everywhere else, with the difference being our facility isn't a football facility. It's like one of these, industrial facilities that we're renting out, but we use it for meetings, physical therapy and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. Food and everything, it's hotel food and camp, hotels and camp. After camp, you get your own living. I'd say the AAF from a money perspective hit it spot on, right? I think if we're going to be playing football, that's the money you should be earning. But the facilities were like trailers that they made in like 30 days. So no, I think the league is doing what it's supposed to. I think it's doing, look, it's growing, right? It's the second year. It's a regen from back in the 80s. So they're doing what they're doing. I think they're doing a good job. They're keeping us fed, they're keeping us paid, and they're allowing us the opportunity to play the game. So can't really complain much, right?
No, you can't. And I thought the guys that were super mature in the XFL made it and got the most out of it, because you would train harder. What are you complaining about? Like 2 meals a day, you get paid. I think we made like 50 grand total, and maybe somewhere in that range, which is great money for 5 months of work. I mean, that's 100 grand a year pace, right? So we made around 50 grand a year. We had a weight room, strength coaches, film, play on national TV, travel around the country. I mean, listen, I'll be honest, I would do it. I'm older now, 29, but if you listen, I'm not going to make it to the NFL. I know I'm not, but I'm a good football player. I'm undersized or whatever it may be, and I'm going to make in the XFL. I mean, you could have a job in the off season making 20, 30,000 and make 50,000 a year playing in that. And you work your way up to make. It's not a bad life.
That's a solid living. Yeah.
No, it's not. I think it's good. Now you said you're in a hub, right?
Yeah. So when I say hub, I mean just that we're in the area, really.
Okay. So it's not like the XFL where they're all in Dallas.
Well, us in Michigan, we're stationed. Like, we're going to play our home games at Ford Field. So Detroit is technically our hub. But we have meetings in the same building. We're practicing at the same place. We're practicing at Eastern Michigan University. We lift there. We do our walkthroughs there. But yeah.
Oh, that's great, man. That's
great. It's solid. I mean, last year it was all 8 teams were in Birmingham at a hotel, right? And that even went smoothly. I mean, you would think it would be chaos, but it really wasn't. It was really smooth. Everyone got along well. No issues. I mean, a couple things got stolen, but that's kind of par for the course. You got so many guys with things, right? So.
Oh shit. So Birmingham's not a bad time too. There's a couple good places to eat, a couple places to go out and have fun.
Great food down there, man.
Yeah,
I don't really go out much. I mean, I got down there towards the tail end of the year, so I was really like, all right, what if I'm ready to be up? So I was focused.
Yeah.
In a
It's
hotel,
a different perspective. I was in Birmingham, and I came to a group there that was rowdy, so I had to kind of match some of the group to get in right away.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have changed my body type over the years. You've always been a super athletic, bendy guy. How have you changed from your time at Temple to now?
A lot stronger. I hated lifting. I didn't lift at all in high school. Like the first time I really started lifting was at Temple, and it was like, oh my God, what is this? So I was doing catch up the entire time. Now I feel like I really understand my body. I know what to do to feel good, and I know what not to do to feel good. I really got to understand my body now. I'm a lot more explosive than I was, a lot more flexible. I feel like I was always athletic, but my hips weren't always good, and I tore both of them in school. So that was kind of a testament to that. But now I'm bendy, I'm flexible, I'm mobile, strong. I'm there, man. I'm there.
That's great, man. Good for you. Now you've been a guy of high spirits. You're into music. Talk to me about your mindset, music, that kind of passion you have outside of playing football.
Well, I mean, music is a big part of my life. I grew up with music. My mother always played blasted music. I sang in the choir. I played Daddy Warbucks from Annie in a play in 5th grade. Like I've always been around music. So it's been a part of my life that it's inevitable. And just with my vocabulary growing and, just my creativity, my temperament being what it is, making music is just something I enjoy doing. I love to do it, man.
What's your favorite part about the music world? Is it writing? Is it producing? Is it making a beat? Hearing a sound and making something off of it?
It's the emotion, right? Like when someone says something to you, that emotion that you feel when it's like, damn, that felt good, right? That same feeling coming from like, it's not really inanimate, but something inanimate like music. Like you can't touch it. It's not anything like it's the emotion that comes from it. It really makes it all. It puts it all in perspective why it's something that's been around as long as we have, right?
Now, I know you're a rapper. Now, is this a part-time thing? Is this rap? Is it R&B? Like, help me out here for someone who's like completely out of touch with all that.
Right now, what I have out is rap and R&B, but I've got music. Me and Samaje actually have music that's pop, the 80s pop, 80s R&B, funk kind of. I mean, I'm all over the place. I listen to, like, one of my first 5 albums was 3 Doors Down, Away from the Sun. The other one was LL Cool J, The Definition, Michael Jackson, Invincible. So my spectrum is all over the place. I listen to everything from heavy metal to gospel. So you'll hear some of everything from me at some point.
I love that. That's how I am. With music is based off of time of year, or really not even time of year. Is like, am I working? Am I working out? Am I having fun and playing for a game, or am I having fun like drinking? Like to me, it all changes based off what's going on and how to elevate each moment for me.
For sure.
That's how I am. I'm a big like California reggae, like alternative rock vibe, like Slightly Stupid, Iration, Sublime, like that. I'm a huge classic rock fan. I love 90s, 80s, 90s rap.
That's her.
Biggie, Tupac, right? Like that to me is just pure music. I don't want to be the get off my lawn guy, but I just don't really connect with a lot of music now. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong.
It's a different time.
It's just a different time, right? What are your thoughts on all the current rap and R&B world?
I mean, music is very reflective of the times, right? And a lot of people will say we're in soft times, we're in convenient times, and the music is reflective of that. It's not real substance. It's what's popular is kind of the temporary microwave stuff, and it kind of it almost backs the argument that the 90s rap is what is that prime era, because we still revert back to that when we say what is the golden What is the golden era of music? What is the best hip hop you can find? You got to mention those guys. So, times change, obviously, and music changes with it. It's just a parallel in life, but the beauty of it is that it's eternal, right? You can always type in a website or press a button and get it. So,
no doubt. Now, are you watching any bit of the draft here coming up? Are you just what's your vibe with football right now?
I've been peaking. So I grew up a Jets fan, Vinny Testaverde, Curtis Martin fan. So I got my eyes on the Jets.
Wayne Corbett, he was
man,
dog.
Wayne Corbett, all those guys, man. I mean, okay. I think the Jets right now are in good position. I think they look good next year.
I do too. We did a NFL broadcast boot camp thing. Sorry, my dog's in here. That's why I've been looking around, because she's just like tearing up the backyard now.
What kind of dog you got?
She's like a little Kanuku, like lab Aruba rescue kind of vibe, like webbed toes, like really unique. Wow. She's right here running around. But my wife's away. She just and she's on her crate. She's gonna rip and tear into anything. Oh yeah, that's how it is. She knows like the boss is not around, and I'm just like 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. So I don't really have time for all of it. I'll be honest with you. I try to give her a little bit of time, but she's she just runs around, rips and tears. Outside, I don't care what she gets a hold of anyways. But yeah, I think I talked about on the NFL broadcast boot camp that I was a part of, and I you said you saw it, the post, and it was an unbelievable thing to be a part of. And essentially what it is 2 days of workshopping, and then the last day you got to go up and perform, call a game on the radio, call a game on TV, host a podcast, and then do a desk pregame show analyst spot.
Nice.
It was first class, and you're learning from the people from CBS and Fox and Westwood One, and just like massive Amazon, huge brands, huge people, producers, talent managers. This is first class. So to make a long story short, one of our questions was, do you think Aaron Rodgers makes the Jets a Super Bowl contender? And I said yes, because they're going to make the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers. They almost made it this year without Aaron Rodgers. And I think Aaron Rodgers, all emotion aside and drama and politics and everything that's got woven into him, he's one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I think at some point people said he was number one, just with pure eye test. Taking stats out of it, what do your eyes tell you? That guy's the best ever. I think now, when it's all said and done, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. Tom Brady's the GOAT. Don't get me wrong, but if you look at that's my basketball argument too. Like, what do your eyes tell you? Like, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest person to ever play that position ever. Like, as a talent and mind, it's the mobility. Like, that guy's just different. I digress, but I said I think it makes the Jets a playoff team because he's going to have like multiple first and second round picks as wide receivers. With Becton coming back at left tackle, that guy's a stud. He's a monster. And their defense is so good. I like their staff. I like their personnel. I'm like, that's the best personnel he's had. He hasn't had a top 5, top 10 defense since he went to the Super Bowl. So that was my take. Now, do you think that the Jets are now a Super Bowl contender, even with that stacked AFC, Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, etc.? You think they're a Super Bowl contender?
Colin, I got to be honest with you, man. 7 games last year, right? Garrett Wilson went for 1,000 yards with 3 guys, right? 3 guys playing the position.
He's a dog.
The talent is undeniable with Aaron Rodgers, right? We could talk about the off the field stuff or some of the in the locker room stuff. Talent wise, they're a 12, 13 win team. Why not? Defense is they look like they looked in 2011, and we saw what that team did. So I think the sky is the limit for these guys. I really do. I think they're a double digit win team, easy.
They still have first round draft pick. They still have draft capital. They'll probably draft a player that's going to have impact to win now right away. You think with that pick, like, it's not going to be a guy who's going to be what's going to happen down the road. It's like a win now situation. Yeah, we'll see how it happens, man. The drama in the NFL unfolds now. It's going to be interesting to see how this draft goes. It's like every year. There's going to be so much movement and drama around it. Everybody thinks, it's just going to be a draft, but the trades are so much fun. Talk about your draft day, though. You went undrafted to Denver. Did you leave when we all left the Temple, or you were the next year? 17?
I was the following year, 2018.
Okay, 18. Sorry. So Jeff Collins' first year? Yep. So talk us through your process as an undrafted free agent. Where'd you train? How'd you find an agent? Where'd you train? What was the draft day like for you?
So let's see, leading into all of that, I guess I'd say starting after the bowl game. I guess it was the Gasparilla Bowl down against FIU. Signed with an agent. they kind of told me where I was. You know, I was expecting to fall to free agency anyway, given all those injuries I had my senior year. Got the call from like Oakland and a couple guys on day 3. And they're like, you know, stay by the phone. We got a couple. I think Oakland had like 5 7th round picks that year or something. So they were like, stay by the phone. So I'm like, damn, I might be going out there. No call from them. Denver calls after the draft. I'm like home alone with the lights off and shit. And it's like, it wasn't as emotional as I thought it would be. It was like, all right, yeah, we want you to come play. It's like, oh, well, I get to play football again. Like, you know, because I just was like the tail end of my career at Temple. I was like just loving football. Like, Rule was like forcing me to want to play the first 2 years. And then like once I got into the swing of things, it was like, all right, well, now you're graduating. Right. But luckily I had done enough to get some eyes. And, you know, draft day for me was like, I wasn't expecting to get drafted. So it was no disappointment, but it was surreal. Like I'm one of the couple hundred guys that's going to get this phone call, you know, so.
It's an amazing feeling. It really is, no matter where you were. I mean, I was undrafted. You would have thought I was the first pick overall the way we partied.
Right.
Now, did you get a signing bonus? Mine was 4,500.
Mine was 10.
I got 10.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
I guess I was pretty decent coming out, you know.
Damn right you were. You were a great player and an athlete. I love it. Yeah, 10 grand. That's always funny to talk about. Like there's some guys who it's funny. You're with and you look around, right? And you're like, these guys are the best in the world. He's an undrafted player. Or, you know, this guy's a first round pick or he's undrafted. You'll ask the undrafted guy who's not really good, right? You could tell like, he may not be good. He may not play very long.
Mm-hmm.
But he's undrafted. He'd be like, what'd you sign for? He'll be like, 80 grand. You're like, what?
Right.
And then you'll ask a guy who's like a baller, like a wideout from whatever. And I'm like, what'd you sign for? He's like,
peanuts.
They didn't give me $1. And you're like,
wow.
Dude, you're going to make the team. So that's how crazy this science is with scouting. I want to get your opinions on this because people ask me all the time, like, why is it such a miss rate with the draft? Over a third of the NFL is undrafted. I think that's a crazy number that people don't really understand.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like just looking at talent, I personally think that scouts don't do a good enough job of getting into the building. Now the teams have to let you in the building and really feel that because the coach rule let scouts do whatever they want, which gave us more access. They gave them more access to us, which allowed them to get to know us better and say, listen, I'm going to vouch for this kid to be a free agent. I think he can make the practice squad of the team.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, I think the scouts got to know you as a human better, your mind, like how smart you are. Like the best players are the smartest. Why do you think there's a miss rate with the NFL draft?
Well, like you said, they're looking at a lot of other things other than those intangibles that kind of decided at the end of the day, right? They're looking at the stats or how long your arms are or what your body looks like or how you did on this test, how you threw it on this play, what you did against the teams with this helmet. It's like there's a lot of factors that go into it, right? Like take Tyler for an example, right? This is a guy who had 100+ tackles every year. He's All-American every year. I mean, he had 8 interceptions at Mike his final year. I mean, he flew off the film, ran the 40 that he ran, and fell to the 7th round. It's like, you know.
Yeah, I believe Mike Tomlin said it's football justice that we drafted Tyler. Like it makes football round again. And Tyler, like he knows, like you look at his body type wise, like there's nothing to write home about there. Now he's in better shape now than he's ever been, and he's led the NFL in special teams tackles since he's been in the league.
It's no surprise.
No shocker. But again, it's like, to me, if I'm sitting around, I'm a team in the 5th round here. I'm like, okay, who are the best players available that are going to make this roster? I'm like, that guy's going to make the team. And he had a great run in Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Mike Tomlin would break a draft, and the guy's a genius, and their front office are smart as hell.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not there. They're great. But my point is, like those type of guys, like those ball players, like, I always wonder why like a guy like Avery Williams never made it. Now I know Avery's he's a smaller stature guy, but that's a guy who plays hard as shit, super tough. And he played in the CFL for a bit.
Yeah, he was doing big things in the CFL. I mean, when you looked at him when we watched, I was in Calgary, we watched him on film. It's like I'm thinking to myself, like that's the same Avery I know from Temple. Just if you're in front of him, he's looking to go through wherever you are.
Yeah.
So. I mean, look, I think it depends on when we talk about scouting, it depends on who the scout is. It depends on what school they're at, the access they have, the type of day they're having, what player, because guys who, at that time we went to Temple, they looked at us as like a mid-major. I don't know if they still look at it now. I don't understand college football right now at all.
Yeah, mid-major. Worse than where we were. And I know Coach Straighton's trying to do a hell of a job. I love the guy trying to flip it around, turn it around.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the CFL, because that's like a majestic land in Canada that not a lot of people know about in America.
Yeah.
It's got, from what I understand, a big following, great tradition.
Yep. Older than the NFL.
Older than the NFL. Great
Yep.
teams, great players. There's a lot of Temple players that have had a ton of success up there. There's a lot of teams, obviously tons of success for American players up there. But can you talk about culturally how the CFL is accepted, or what the vibe is in Canada with the CFL and the fans?
I love Canada. I mean, I wouldn't mind living up there permanently. Honestly, I loved it up there. I think in terms of the fan to player relationship, it's not like if I go to the mall, I'm getting swarmed. There's admiration, but there's a respect. It's like, hey, you're eating. Hey, how are you? I know you play for such and such. Nice to meet you. It's like the hockey guys are really the NFL guys up there for the most part. The money is a little different with the currency. So if you're not a starter, if you're not a Stanley Bryan or a Derek Dennis, you're on less than some of these side leagues that we're making. But I think they're struggling to really get a younger audience because it's been around so long. Because a lot of the way it's run is a traditionally run. It's hard to get young fans, and that's going to be there. And it's also hard for them to keep the best talent, right? You got the best Canadian wants to go to an American school. The best Canadian college player is going to the NFL. So they're in that weird spot. They're in that weird spot of permanently number 2. It's hard to overcome sometimes, I guess.
What's the facilities like? Is there facilities that are just dedicated to the team? There's stadiums dedicated to the team. Explain that to American listeners.
So in Calgary, and I think in other places as well, we shared with the college. So the University of Calgary played the Dinos. They played there. They practiced there. They had their own wing. We never really, it was like the facility was spaced properly. We didn't have to intermingle or be in each other's way. I think when I was in Winnipeg, they got their own stadium, and it's a beautiful stadium too. The facility is amazing. But yeah, the facilities I'd say are about average to above average in terms of the spectrum, I guess.
Yeah, the spectrum. And it's funny too. People think the NFL is the best. No, it's college, folks. It's
college by far. Yeah,
because you got donors, you got coaches that could be moving to other places. Extremely competitive. Now, what was your recruitment like, Lee? We'll go back because you're Jersey,
yeah.
So talk about your recruitment,
man,
because I know that was unique for you.
Dennis McCarthy, God rest his soul. This guy, he had this scouting report, and basically what he would do, he would find guys, and he'd write their names down, and he would push their film to different schools. So my 9th grade year, I'm a freshman. I'm just empty-headed. I'm walking around at our varsity game right outside the gate, and that guy comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, what's your name?" Da, da, da. Tell him Leon Johnson. And he writes me down. And 4 years go by. I play all these games. Senior year goes by. This guy calls me. He's like, "Dennis McCarthy, you remember me?" I was like, "Yeah, I remember you," because I'm not getting recruited. So, "Oh yeah, I remember you." He told me that he thought I was one of the better tackles in the state that nobody knew about. And he said, if I trust him, he'd find a way to get me out of there. And, I gave him my I made my own huddle highlight film, sent him my film. And within a couple of months, during basketball season, I was getting Michigan State calls. Florida's coming to my basketball practice. Ohio State coming to my basketball games. Old Dominion coming to basketball games. And that guy changed my life for sure. Just bumped into that guy at a game. And the only reason why I went to that game was the head coach of, my high school was so dysfunctional, but the head coach was like, "Come to the game. I'm going to play you." Right. I'm thinking, "Oh, I'm going to play at this game." I get there. I don't see him. No one says anything to me. So I just stay there as a fan, end up bumping into this guy. And just completely, those people that just change the trajectory of your life. Right. So
you never know who they are, Lee. I think that's
never know who they are, man.
I mentor a bunch of kids, especially down in Cape May, New Jersey, where we've had a house, and I coach football down there too. And it's and even people at our media company, you're like, guys, you never know where your tape's going to end up. That NFL broadcast boot camp, 3 or 4 of these clips right here ended up in front of every person from CBS, Fox, and whomever, all 32 NFL players were there. Like chaos. Kurt Warner, Rich Eisen, and boom, I texted the group right away. I said, 3 of your edits have made it in front of that group of people. I think that's a bonus to being a part of our media company, but you just never know. Last night we tweeted, we're doing pre-draft. Obviously, Leon and I have talked pre-draft stuff, but this will come out in a week or two, a couple weeks. But Tom Pelissero, huge NFL Network reporter, retweeted a tweet we had yesterday, and everyone's freaking out, right? But I'm like, that's the way of the world we live in today. Like, you never know who's watching. You never know what's happening. There's been several people in my life, Leon, that there's a guy in the quickest stories. Name's Brendan Donovan, and he was a recruiting coordinator at Florida. He's in the USFL now. Pretty sure he's a scout. And I would show up. My dad's like, "You're wearing jeans and a polo shirt." I'm like, "Dad, I'm not wearing jeans and a polo shirt." He's like, "Son, you want to get recruited? You want to play in the NFL? It starts at University of Florida. They're recruiting you. You're going to look the part. You're going to be first class. That's who you are. Why not show it?" All right, Dad. Didn't want to do it, man. But I did. It was kind of awkward. Everyone's wearing their varsity jackets, and like shit from their high school and hoodies, and they're all chilled out, gator gear. And I'm like looking like a dork in my polo and jeans. But I'm wearing it, So I get a call from Brendan Donovan. From that moment of time, that was in 2010. I got a call from the AAF in 2018. So 8 years later, Brendan calls me and says, "Colin, I've always been a big fan. You wrote me a handwritten letter and thanked me for your time. All stuff my dad made me do. Mom, you dressed appropriately. I thought you were first class. Now, we've stayed friends over the years too, but I want to bring you in here. I'm going to vouch for you to come into this team in the AAF." When I was dead in the water in the NFL, really. Boom, it took off, and then I went AAF, made a connection through Brendan with the Birmingham Iron to Tampa Bay Vipers. That guy, Ron Zaleski, who's been on the show, Big Ron, I sent him your tape. He knows. I don't know if he knows you or not, but he loves your tape. You never know who watches, by the way. That's my point. I sent him your tape one day, and he's like, "Who are the guys that are CFL guys from Temple?" I'm like, "Leon and a couple others." And I know the story's long-winded here, but this is the point of you never know who's watching. And then I made the connection with Ron from Birmingham. Ron went to Tampa. I went to Tampa because of Ron. None of the guys wanted me in Tampa. I went from like the 3rd string tight end to like heavily involved, really 5th string coming in. I was barely drafted in the XFL. And then boom, obviously Coach Rule gets a job in Carolina. The scouts in Carolina watch my tape. Obviously with Coach Rule's suggestion, boom, I'm in Carolina. I was there 3 years. So like, it's just never know your effect like on people and how you act. Now, how did you end up at Temple?
Okay, so that's a long story. That's a very long story. Okay, so
we got time. It's a podcast.
Alan Mogridge was my recruiting coach.
Al Mogridge. Al Mogridge story. When I got booted from Florida with a medical disqualification, I went to UCF because Al Mogridge.
He was a tight ends by then, yeah.
He was tight end coach at UCF. He left Temple, but he was at UNC before that. And he used to write like handwritten letters and write touchdown plays on the thing. Like, this could be you at UNC. So I looked at the UNC staff, UCF staff at this point in time, because I wanted to stay at Florida. And I went and visited Al. I literally banged on the door. I'm like, "I'll be here tomorrow." I knocked on the door. He let me in. He's like, "I can't offer you a scholarship. Your career's over. Florida probably. We don't have any room for you." And then that's how I ended up at Temple. So Al Mogridge.
So Al Mogridge, that guy. I mean, he was the first time I was like, "Oh, these guys write letters to you." But okay, so I went to a charter school my 10th and 11th grade year, brand new startup. They didn't have, I think it was called the I-9 form. That was basically the clearinghouses, the NCAA clearinghouses, like mandatory curriculum that you needed to have in high school. They didn't have that form. So it looked as if I didn't go to school for 2 years. So Alan Mogridge was coming from Temple University to Boundbrook High School and then Barack Obama Charter High School, which is about an hour, 40-minute drive, probably 2 or 3 times a week, getting 2 years worth of curriculum passed through the clearinghouse, making sure that was done. Now, granted, during this time, I'm getting recruited by Ohio State and Florida. And as they discover what the issue I have in school is, all these teams start to fall off. All these teams start to fall away. Like Ohio State came in for an in-house meeting. It was like, "We don't think you're going to make it. We'll have an offer for you, but we don't know what's going to happen." So that process took about 6 months, right? They're inputting 2 years worth of class work through. And at the end of it all, right around the time we're supposed to go to school, they realized that I missed the qualification by 1 grade point. So what I had to do was I had to take two summer classes, and I had to get an A in both of those summer classes for that to bring me up with that 1 point for me to be clear. So did those 2 summer classes, got the 2 A's. I came to Temple actually in August when I was supposed to come in June, for summer workouts. Got there in August. The fact that I came from like being the high school human being that I was and then jumping right into a Division I camp I don't understand it. The kid don't understand how it happened. But yeah, man, long road. The SAT didn't help me at all. But man, Mogrit showed that Temple really wanted me, right? Old Dominion had gave me an offer on Christmas, and I thought that really meant a lot because that was the first team that really gave me the offer. For them to give me an offer on Christmas meant a lot. But the effort that Temple showed to make sure that I even figured out whether or not I cleared, I mean, I felt like that was a debt that I owed myself. And that ended up working out very well for me, I would say.
Did you ever want to quit football?
I wanted to quit as soon as I got there. I remember me and DT both. No, you might not have been there yet.
I was there
when we sprained our ankles playing basketball.
Was it 2014?
14, bro. We sprained our ankles playing basketball 2 weeks or a week before spring ball started, and right around that time was I'm getting caught being late to class. I'm missing study halls. I'm just all over the place. And Rule's like, if you want to go transfer, you can go. I'll send you to, he named one of those smaller schools or whatever. And I was like, maybe this shit isn't for me. And I don't know really, B-Dub really kind of got all of that out of me.
All right,
B-Dub really, he made me tough. He's like, Leon, you could do you're afraid to do it because you kind of know you can do it, but you don't want to fail at it. And, once I put that in perspective, I just kind of turned into a gear and I just closed my eyes and went, man.
Yeah, you've always been well thought, super tough. Let's see, I'm trying to describe Leon because I played next to you for a very long time. We had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Quick trigger, which I loved. We had some good scrap, not you and I, scrapping on other players. Just a pleasure to be around. I thought it's fun, so many fun players at Temple, obviously Dion. A lot of people know Dion now. He's on national TV commercials.
Yeah, right.
Dion and Kyle Friend's a character, does nuts and tough as shit.
Yeah, man. Oh my
strong.
God.
And you got McGowan and Jovan Fair and Hennessy. And these are all the O-linemen that played at Temple for those that don't know. And I'm sure a lot of Temple people will listen to this. Just some really good people. Now that's just the offensive side of it. And you got Sharga and Rockwell, and Jahad Thomas. Man, it was fun. All those receivers, Robbie, man. Kirkwood, Ventel. There was a time at Carolina, Leon, you'll appreciate this. PJ was a quarterback. It was a 7-on-7. PJ was a quarterback. Robbie was in at receiver. Ventel was in at receiver. Kirkwood was in at receiver, and I was in at tight end. In a 7-on-7 play in the NFL.
Can you imagine that?
I'm the misfit toy in that one, but I think I ended up catching the ball for 15, 20 yards. So it was a good deal. But no, it was really cool. That was unique. As you know, professionally, you may go into a place, you may know one guy, and especially where you're at, you may know a guy because you played with him in the AAF 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And in the NFL, you may know an operations person because they went to Temple for 2 years and they coach with Coach Rule or Jeff Collins or Steve Adazio. You're just trying to find any common ground with anybody.
Yeah.
Am I right? I mean, I think it's hard. Then you go to Carolina, and it was 25 of us there. It was really cool.
Right. Yeah, that's a blessing. That's a blessing for sure. Yeah. I mean, this game, for what it brings, the camaraderie that it brings, the memories that it creates. I mean, we don't remember the plays. We remember those nights when the power goes out and we're out in somewhere, or when we're playing in Vanderbilt and we don't play till midnight because it's been raining. I mean, it's no surprise why this game is what it is, right? It's the biggest sport in America, right? So,
no doubt, man. It's crazy our time at Temple. People ask me about Penn State all the time. I don't really remember it.
Yeah,
I don't
remember the game at all. I remember we won, but
yeah. I remember. No, I go for it. If you ask that season, we remember it, but
yeah.
Coach Rule, I think he didn't give us a choice to remember it. He's like,
Yeah.
this is the best thing that happens us all year round, we're going to have a horrible year.
Mm-hmm.
He was right. And then I think when all of a sudden we're like 6-0 after these crazy games, and we lose to Notre Dame, that was like a big emotional deal for us. Now I'll wrap up. I always like to ask this, like, some of the best players you played all time, or in college or in pro,
With and against.
Sure. Really.
I gotta say Hassan. I mean, just a freak athlete. I mean, to start as a safety and be a DN in the league now is insane. Dion, freakishly strong, freak athlete. I mean, I can name 40 guys from Temple. I think Shaquille Griffin, or was it Shaquille or Shaquem? Shaquem Griffin from UCF.
Yes.
So strong. I mean, I think he might have been 230, 240 pounds maybe, but he just felt so strong.
We're talking about the gentleman, by the way, guys, that only has one hand.
Yes.
We played him. We ran the ball a ton now. You were on that side. It was on the right side. We were doing a lot of low power against him down in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
He was an MFer.
That is a
Tough,
guy.
quick, strong. He doesn't need two hands. Now, I've seen him now. I was at the broadcast boot camp with him, Leon. What a great guy. I met his brother and his mom as well when he won a Maxwell Award 2017. But that's a good one. That's a good one. A lot of people don't know about. I agree with that one. I agree with all of them, but particularly that one.
Who else? I thought Isaac Rochelle was pretty good. He gave me hell when we played him. But a big guy, long and rangy and quick. Damn, I'm slipping. I forgot so much of college, man. There's so many guys.
No, there's a lot. You're trying to think of the teams we played.
Tulane had a couple DNs. I think Denzel Smart went to Tulane, didn't he?
Yep, and Houston had a couple guys. Ed Oliver.
Houston. Mm-hmm.
There was some people there.
SMU had a DN that was pretty good too.
Yeah, the white kid.
Yeah, I think he got drafted maybe.
He did okay. I think it was – I forget his name. I was more nervous about him on film than I thought he was going to be. The kid from Memphis gave me hell.
Number 5.
Gary.
Yeah.
Yep. And you know what? You know what's funny? In the NFL, he got me again in Philly twice. Really? Crossed my face, and I knew it. I'm like, he's not going to do that again. He did it in college. You're running duo, right? And he's not going to cross your face. You got to set the edge. I'm like – so I pushed the envelope a little bit on duo because I know, especially on the outside, they have to keep contained. You can run at the outside number a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to go out there, and then he's going to nose this duo, and then you're going to grab him, and he's not going to be able to go inside. Well, he jumped inside twice on me. Living nightmares. My worst game in NFL history.
That guy's a great athlete.
Yeah, he was good. Short, stout, quick. He was a problem. He was a problem.
Big problem.
No, a lot of good players, but a lot of good memories, man. It was a lot of fun.
It's like we lived a life already. That's really what it feels like.
It really is. Now, what's the plan for you moving forward? You're going to play till the wheels fall off? That's my goal.
Man, until the wheels get flat, buddy. I'm going. And then from there, I dabbled in the law. That was a paralegal the last 4 months. I think that's something I may give a spin at some point. But like the sports broadcast thing really for me has been, I mean, like I feel like a nerd saying this. If I'm playing 2K, literally, if I'm playing NBA 2K, I'll pretend as if I'm calling the game. I'll call the stats, pretending as if I'm actually calling the game. So like, it's really something I've always been fond of. My late grandmother, what she used to tell me when I went into school, I started as media studies and production. My grandmother said, Don Lemon, right? He just got fired. He's in the news now, actually. So that's pretty ironic. But back in the day, I guess this would have been 15, 20 years ago. She was like, I want you to be like that guy. Because he was one of the first Black news broadcasters, She said, I want you to be like that guy. You can talk. You're smart. You can do that, So it really, that's really where it comes from. That's where the feeling comes from. Kind of just honoring her memory in a way. But I also play into some talents and some strengths that I have.
Well, who knows? Maybe you'll be coming to us the next time you hear Leon will be with Not For Long Media. We're going to talk about this after this, but
you never know.
Leon, I appreciate you coming on, man. 45 minutes. We ripped it up, had a great time. I've always considered you a great friend, a great teammate, someone that's always good to connect with. It's been good. This is the best part about this, man. I get to have you on. We get to chop it up and catch up on here. And then we get to listen.
Likewise. I appreciate you having me, CT, man. It's always a pleasure talking to you, man.